Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at adding 2D movement to our player. The first thing I'm going to do is select the player. We're going to use the physics engine to move the player. So I'm going to add a rigid body 2D component to the player, and I'm going to set the gravity scale to 0 because this is a top-down game. Then I'm going to freeze the rotation on the Z-axis and we're ready to start moving the player. We're going to need a new script to control the player, so we're going to add a new component. I'll type in the name PlayerController, I'll click New Script, and then I'll click Create and Add. So I'm going to open this script up now and take a look at it. We can delete some of these comments because we don't need them. We are going to need a few variables though. So the first thing I'm going to do is add a movement speed variable. I'm going to serialize the field and set it to private so that I can change it in the inspector. Next, we're going to need access to that rigid body 2D component that we created. So I'm going to create a private rigid body 2D variable called RB, and then in the start function, I'm going to get that component. Get component goes and accesses the rigid body 2D component that is attached to the same object as this player controller script. Then I'm going to need a private vector2 called movement direction. And this will store the direction in which we input. From there, we can start looking at reading input from the player. When we read input, we're going to store it in the movement direction variable. And since that's a vector2 with an X and a Y axis, we're going to create a new vector2 based on the inputs that the player are using. To get access to the values that the user is inputting, we have the input class provided by Unity. If we type in input.getAccess, it will give us the values that are set for whichever axis we specify. For example, we can type in horizontal or vertical to get us the X value or the Y value. When we do this, we set the movement direction based on if the user is pressing A or D or W or S. Now that we have the movement direction, we can actually start using that value to move the player in the direction we want. We do the reading of user input in the update function, but all physics-based actions should take place in the fixed update. So what we're going to do here is add a fixed update method. Then we want to apply that movement direction to the rigid body. So I'm going to change the rigid body's velocity. I'm going to do rb.velocity, and I'm going to set it equal to the movement direction multiplied by a movement speed so that we can control how fast the player moves. And that's it. Now we should be able to move our player. I'm going to go back to the Unity game engine and I'm going to press play. As you can see, the player moves and I have complete control over the player movement with WASD. If you want to change the speed at which the player moves, you can adjust the movement speed. So that's how you would move a player in a 2D game in Unity. If you have any questions, then drop them down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.